Hey everyone, it's Manero here, and in this video, I'm going to guide you through the process of drawing a Christmas illustration in Procreate. So let's jump right into it. For this project, I'm going to be using my Stippling and Patterns brush set for Procreate that just got updated this week with 10 new Christmas themed brushes. This update is of course entirely free for previous customers of this set. You can find it along with a free mini version for you to try out on my Gumroad page. The link is in the description below. Since this is the first time I'm using the Stippling and Patterns set in one of my videos, I want to give you a little tour on all the brushes that are included so far. If you're only interested in the Christmas drawing process, feel free to skip this part, using the chapters in the timeline of this video. Before we start, remember that you can see what brush I'm using at all times by looking at this rectangle right here. This set has 3 brushes dedicated to line art. These are 3 nice inking brushes with different flavors that go really well with the Stippling and Pattern brushes. Next, we have a nice collection of stippling brushes that will make your stippling process way more efficient than if you had to draw all those dots one by one. I wanted to give you different options, so there are different types of dots with different shapes to ensure that you always get an interesting handmade feel that never looks repetitive. Then we have a large collection of carefully crafted seamless patterns that also react dynamically to the pressure you apply with your Apple Pencil. There is at the moment 58 different handmade patterns to choose from, and they all give you different outcomes depending on how slight or hard you press. This collection started at 30 brushes, so I'm doing my best to keep it growing at a nice pace. There's 2 features in these brushes that will come in handy to know about. The first one is that you can rotate the direction of the pattern by simply rotating your canvas with 2 fingers. The second trick is that you can easily change the size of the patterns. I forgot to show that in the recording, so I don't have footage right now, but I wanted you to know that the set comes with a PDF guide that explains very quickly how to do that in 2 simple steps anyone can follow. These next 10 brushes are the ones that come with this latest Christmas update, as you can tell by their themed look. I really enjoyed working on these new patterns, and I feel very proud of the nice and varied collection this set is turning into. A special mention to these next 2 brushes that will allow you to add Christmas lights to your scenes in no time. The last ones are some extra pattern-based brushes that can come really in handy whenever you need to draw some dashed lines, or quickly draw some chains, or fish and dragon scales. Okay, those are all the brushes that are included in this set at the moment. I hope you like them. Now let's get to draw a Christmas greeting illustration. The first thing I always do is to import a couple of paper textures from my Manero Brushes paper collection to give my drawing a nice traditional feeling. For this illustration, I'm going to import the texture called Chalk Sandpaper and set the layer to multiply mode. The other texture will be the one called Noir Paper 2, and I will set this layer to lighter color mode. I'm going to start by sketching out the scene I want to draw. I use this stage mostly to put my idea on the canvas and see how it looks once it is outside my head. You'll see that for all the sketching part and even the inking part of this illustration, I'm only using the splattering curve brush. I chose this one out of the 3 inking brushes from this set, because I really love the messy look it gives you by splatting some random tiny dots of ink along your line work. I find that it adds to the randomness that you can expect from traditional inking tools, which makes the experience feel very natural despite being digital. I knew I wanted to incorporate a Merry Christmas text somewhere, so I started to play with its placement at an early stage. I wanted to make sure that there was going to be enough space for the text and the other elements in my illustration. I also thought that adding a border or frame to the illustration would make it look more like a greetings card. Once my basic sketch was finished, I could start inking with a more polished line work. For this part, I like to take my time and enjoy the process of varying the line weights and thicknesses. I usually try to use thicker lines for the outside of the main shapes, and work with finer lines for the details inside the shapes. If you also noticed before, I didn't really detail the characters that much in the sketching stage. I like to leave something creative to do during the inking part. This way I find that the flow of my creativity never gets interrupted, while avoiding to draw the same thing twice. Once I had finished inking the characters, I felt like Santa's head was a little too big, causing the body to look unbalanced, so I fixed that before moving on. Then I masked the characters to make them easier to separate from the background during the coloring process later. Here I turned off the characters' layers to be able to work on the background without distractions. I wanted to keep this part of the drawing fairly simple: a window, a wall, a floor and a ceiling. Then I inked and detailed the presents under the Christmas tree, and took my time on defining the final lines for the tree as well. Now that the final line art is finished, here comes the fun part. When it comes to use the brushes in this set, we are going to add a lot of nice detail to our drawing in no time by using the included patterns. For example, I'm going to use this one to quickly add a storm of snow outside the window. For the floor, I'll add this pattern on a separated layer, and then I'll use the transform tool to adjust its perspective to add a little bit more depth to the scene. Then I'll use the selection tool to separate the different parts of the painted paper in the wall and add a couple of different patterns to the alternate sections. Using the Christmas lights brush, I'll add some lights to the tree with just 3 quick strokes. And with this other brush, I'll add the cord to the lights in no time. By the way, notice that for each element that I finish, like the characters, the presents, the tree and the Christmas lights, I create a mask filled with white, so that each element is easier for me to color later. For this little girl's clothes, I'm going to add this ugly sweater pattern and use the wrapping tool to make it follow the volume of her body better. Then I just erase the parts I don't want. I'll do something similar for Santa's clothes, and I'll add this cute texture to the white parts in his suit. Since this is the Stippling and Patterns brush set, I thought on also adding a little bit of stippling in the presents sack to give it some volume. I think adding some patterns to the wrapped gifts will also look pretty cool. For the Merry Christmas frame, I tried different pattern options, and at the end I decided to use these Christmas ornaments that in my opinion fit very nicely. Here I added another touch of stippling texture to the Christmas tree, and all the inking parts of the drawing are finished. Now for the color, I wanted to keep the idea of the vintage look, so I thought that it would be cool to use a very limited palette. You can see on the left side of the screen what are the only 4 colors I decided to use, aside from the white of the paper and the black of the ink. I like using limited palettes like this, because they force you to think in terms of legibility. Basically, you need to try different uses of the 4 available colors in each place, in order to keep things visually appealing. It is a nice exercise, and if you have never tried it, I totally recommend you to give it a go. And this is the final result. I hope you liked this video, and that you decide to give my free or paid brushes an opportunity. I would really love to see what you create using them, so if you post your creations on Twitter or Instagram, make sure to tag me or use hashtag Manero Brushes so that I can see them, and I promise to share them with my audience. Of course, if you have any questions after watching this video, feel free to ask in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more art-related videos, and give me a thumbs up. Also, make sure to check out my Gumroad page, where you will find the dynamic Stippling and Patterns brush set for Procreate, and many other sets that I have available. I'm sure something will suit your artistic needs. All the links are in the description below. Okay, thank you for watching. See you next time.